Just when I'm playing games. His name is Alexander.
Oh, cool. Next, Chairman. Dear Mr. Kelsey, my name is Sophia. I am good at these splits. I feel happiest when I am spending time with my family. One way I help my community is helping people out. Sophia.
This is from Cooper. Mr. Salcedo, my name is Cooper. I am good at basketball. I am happiest when I am eating ice cream. One way that I can help my community is picking up trash.
My letter reads, Dear Mrs. Kerr, my name is Liam. I'm good at soccer and coloring. I feel happiest when I'm eating ice cream. Seems to be a recurring theme. One way I help in my community is being kind. Very nice picture.
I'm also happiest when I'm eating ice cream.
I think it's pretty universal.
Mine says,
James, go ahead.
oh, I didn't know you had one.
Mr. Krazan, my name is Ethan. I'm good at Minecraft. I feel happiest when I am playing VR. One way I help my community is picking up trash, and that is from Ethan.
Very nice. Looks just like you. I'm just kidding.
Mine says, Dear Mrs. Tobin, my name is Madison, and I'm good at soccer. I feel happiest when I am playing soccer, and one way I help my community is picking up trash. From Madison.
Mine, I actually have two. And the first one is from Jordan, and it says, Mrs. Ross, and I hope I'm reading this right. My name is Jordan. I am happiest when I am eating ice cream.
Ice cream seems to be the go-to thing.
And then this one is from Gregory. Mrs. Ross, my name is Gregory. I am happiest when I am playing. And I believe it says, the way I help my community is helping people. That's beautiful.
Yep.
That's beautiful. Mine is from Ashley. She says, my name is Ashley. I am good at dancing. I feel happiest when I'm at home. One way that I can help my community is to be friendly.
Beautiful.
I like that.
I got one too.
Ed, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yours.
My name is Sophia. I am good at math. One way I help my community is being kind. I feel the happiest when the mayor says meeting adjourned.
I concur.
That's funny.
Well, so that was a nice surprise. And we thank Miss Lemon's first grade class for doing that, and have to come up with a way to return that gesture to them.
Ice cream, yes, absolutely.
Ice cream may be the situation.
A little ice cream social.
I'll speak for donuts.
or another snow day for them. But and speaking of the snow, we had an interesting couple of days there between the rain, the snow, the freezing, and the absolute mess. I want to thank our DPS. They did an exceptional job for us once again by keeping our streets clean. We appreciate that. Coming up on this Friday, there is a grand opening celebration of ribbon cutting taking place at 2617 Dix Highway, Lincoln Park. It is the Lincoln Park Nutrition, and there'll be a ribbon cutting at 4 o'clock, a time to celebrate. It'll be a good thing. And there's also a celebration this past Friday at the KMB, Kennedy Memorial Building, in which we had a longtime employee, Doreen Christian, who was celebrating her last day of work with a bit of tuna salad and some cake. It was over there. A little party was held. Now, Doreen has worked in the city clerk's office as a clerk, and I think work. She then went over to Parks Recreation and has been our go-to person for our community development block grant for the last, she was an assistant under Don Cook years ago, and I think that she's run it on her own for 9 years, or maybe longer than that. Anyway, it's a great loss because there's so much unique knowledge that she had in getting all these different programs done. I mean, part of it even will be, as we go through the consent agenda, she had her hand on several of those items that are in there. And she will be missed. I mean, she's not going far away, and we can still use her as a resource, I'm sure. But just wanted to extend my thanks, and I'm sure all the thanks of the council for a job well done, and hope she has a great time in retirement. From what I understand, she has a whole lot of babysitting going to be going on. And that is all right. I think that I will leave that at that and then move on to our consent agenda. Resolved that the following items listed under the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. The one, approved minutes, regular meeting held Tuesday, January 18, 2022. 2, approve decrease smart transportation costs. 3, approve sub-recipient senior alliance. 4, approve sub-recipient first step. 5, a trend training, police department, Alice certified instructor training. 6, set study session / contracts. 7, set study session / goal setting. And 8, solicit bids / concrete sectioning and utility repair program.
I'll move.
Support.
Okay. And clerk, call the roll.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I would love to see number 7 on the action item, study session goal setting. Could we move that to action item, please? And I'm not going to comment on the 3 o'clock meeting that's scheduled study session contracts, but I'll let that go for now. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Just wanted
That
to
will be
mention that for
added
the
to
record.
the action item, so is there anything further? Okay, then clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Let me just... get that and save it for later. I'm used to far more room here. All right, the first action item has cover letter from John Kasu, our DPS director, and also from Hennessy Engineers. So first, with Director Kasu's letter, and its subject is extension of the present 2019 road reconstruction water main contract for GV Cement and road resurfacing contract for Hutch paving for the 2022 construction season. GV Cement Contracting of Brownstown was the City of Lincoln Park cement contractor for the road reconstruction program for 1920 and 2021 construction seasons. They had offered to extend their contract and unit rates from the 2019 contract for the 2022 construction season. Hutch Paving of Warren, Michigan was the City of Lincoln Park's paving contractor for asphalt resurfacing program for Phase 2 work for 2019, 2020, and 2021. They have offered to extend their contract unit rates from the 2019 contract to the 2022 construction season. And from James Hollingsworth, we are in receipt of a request from GV Cement for the 2022 road reconstruction and water main replacement project and Hutch Paving for the 2022 asphalt road resurfacing project to extend their contract for the 2019 programs. The information we are receiving from the contractors and material suppliers is that they are expecting increases in pricing from the 2021 for both labor and materials. Based on the information we're receiving, the highest increases will be the petroleum-based and plastic resin-based products due to increase in cost of production. The lack of materials and the increase in demands, it would be our suggestion that if the contractors are willing to hold the 2019 prices, it would likely be more cost-effective than rebidding these projects out. Over the past several years, GV Cement and Hutch Paving have performed well in the city of Lincoln Park. So the resolution is, make sure I haven't missed something here. And a letter from Hutch Paving to James Hollingsworth and John Kazoo. To further give the city a better idea of cost savings, the price of asphalt has gone up in price from $72 per ton to this year's price, $80 per ton, which would increase the contract price for asphalt paving from $115 to $124. This is also true with the cost of concrete and all the units associated with concrete. Savings is not limited to just cost of materials. The city will also be saving on all increase in labor and fuel. Since 2019, Hutch Paving is able to provide these savings to the city based on having the project contract early, the ability of John Kazoo and Hennessy Engineers' flexibility in schedule, and the City of Lincoln Park prompt payment and Hutch Paving expertise in working with the City of Lincoln Park. So the resolution is be it resolved that the mayor and city council authorize the extension of the contract for GV Cement Contracting Company for the 2022 road reconstruction and water main replacement project, and to authorize the extension of the contract for Hutch Paving for the 2022 road resurfacing project at 2019 contract unit rates.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, discussion?
Through the chair.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just want to make sure that I've got this clarified right. They're going to give us the 2019 prices, and there's going to be no increase in cost of materials all the way around? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that's what I was reading. Thank you.
All right. Further discussion?
Sorry.
Clerk, call the roll.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. That. Next action item has a cover letter from James Krazan, our city manager. On January 3, 2022, a study session was held to discuss a plan to restructure the way in which the city provides community development block grant, parks and recreation, and planning services. The plan called for the separation of duties of the Director of Community Planning and Development and the Parks and Recreation Director. The plan called for the creation of a CDBG coordinator position, a city planner position, and a fully dedicated Parks and Recreation Director position. Study session concluded with a request for more information on the cost of the plan. The following table indicates the expended decrease in cost, potential savings, or overall expended increase in costs. Potential increase in cost, total on paper increase, $174,825.74. On paper, general fund cost, $104,657. And on paper, CDBG, $70,169. Potential area for savings, planning consultant fee for the 3-year average, $72,900. Expected net cost increase, general fund, $31,757. CDBG, $70,169. Total across all funds, $101,926. The total expended net increase in cost of the general fund would be under $35,000. This includes budgeted various positions at the top of the current wage scale. This also includes a reduction in the amount of funds that currently go to contracted planning services. In a worst-case scenario, one in which we see no change in the cost of planning consultant fees, we would see a general fund increase of $105,000. However, the purpose of the restructuring is to have an in-house planner to avoid these fees. It is planned that without the need for contracting all planning services, the cost would decrease significantly. So whereas the mayor and city council was presented a plan to restructure the city parks and recreation, and community development, and planning departments at a study session held on January 3, 2022, and whereas the mayor and city council have been presented the associated costs of said proposal, be it resolved, the mayor and city council approve the restructuring plan for the Parks and Recreation and Community Planning and Development. Be it further resolved, the mayor and city council direct staff to begin filling the necessary positions to bring forth a future resolution of the creation of the position of city planner.
So move.
Support.
Okay, discussion?
Yes, through the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
You've got down here that there's going to be like 70,000 coming from the CDBG to help support that. There's a cap on how much we can pay administratively out of the CDB budget. Is that going to be over the cap? Because there's only so much, I think it's 20% of whatever we get.
Yeah, it's 20% of the total.
Right.
Which would be at about 160,000, give or take. As far as I understand, yeah, we're under that cap.
So through the chair to the city manager, so we pay the clerk, the assistant, full-time out of that budget also, am I correct? The one for Doreen.
For the housing program, yeah, for
Yeah.
the homes program.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're still going to be within that then?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. The other question I got is that we have the bottom people kind of in this chart, but we don't have the top people. We don't know the city planner yet because we can't get enough people for the building department, but we're assuming we can get one to be a city planner, which is, it is what it is. The other thing is we're expanding the positions compared to when we consolidated them before. And I'm just concerned, why are we doing that? I mean, basically, we can't, well, by two questions, the body and the issue with the expansion.
Okay, so as far as hiring a city planner, the budget number I've thrown into the costing, that's kind of right around what I've been seeing. I've been looking at a lot of different planner postings, and I think we'd be in pretty good shape. And truthfully, the way our contract is with Beckon and Rader, if it takes us time to fill that, it takes us time to fill it. We still have that to fall back on. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of
Oh,
the
the
question?
second question is that how come we're spreading the pie chart? I call it a pie chart, but actually organizational chart.
So the entire purpose behind it is to improve services. It's
Okay.
to improve the overall direction of Parks and Recreation, to be able to have somebody who is fully dedicated to it as opposed to somebody who's split, to provide that in-house planning service, to hopefully have a quicker turnaround time for businesses that want to come in. They have questions about zoning, to help speed up the development process, to help streamline it. And then the CDBG program is going to be able to continue as efficiently as it has.
Okay, well, through the chair to the city manager, the issue is the Parks and Rec never had any money. John Kazoo did all the maintenance and all, supplied the bodies and everything else, and that's why it basically was consolidated with the CDBG, because it's a separate, but there wasn't nothing that they could do because every year we gave them no money. So how are we going to choose? They're going to have to fund that position then, right, for an actual budget then, am I correct?
Through expanding programs, which programming is usually paid for through fees.
Fees.
Being able to go after more grants and actually target and really try and implement those 5-year Parks and Rec plans.
I don't disagree with that, but on a different subject is that the CDBG, we don't even know who the person is yet, Noreen's gone. Am I correct? Or we do? I mean, you have the chart CDBG person, but I don't know who it is.
No, because we haven't been able to hire it yet because we've been waiting for this resolution to come through. We've been waiting for the final resolution.
Okay, my last question is where does John Myers fit in this? His building department? Where's he at in the flow chart?
Well, the building department's going to work hand in hand with the planner.
Okay, so they're
But they're going to be kind of on, they'd be on par. I'd look at the city planner and the chief building official as both part of the executive leadership team.
Okay. I still don't like the process, but thank you for the explanation. Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I know, Mr. Kazan, you mentioned it would speed up the, people open up their businesses. Is there a problem right now currently with speeding up the business?
It would just be able to offer a little bit better one-on-one support for people looking to open businesses who have questions about zoning, questions about particular properties, to help get them through the zoning process.
And I spent a lot of time on this. In closing, in 2007, in order to reduce costs, the city combined the positions of Park Recreation Director with the Department of Community Planning and Development. That was to reduce cost. So just want to bring that up. And the city planner does have job descriptions similar to other positions that we have in the city. So I'm not too enthusiastic about this, but I will see how council goes. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
If I can speak a little bit of history, because I was on the council back then, and I can tell you that we were forced to make a decision to combine these positions, or we would not have had a Park and Rec department. And it was just that simple. That's why these two programs were put together. But they do not fit together. As the liaison to the program, it doesn't fit. And the Parks and Rec has been hurt over the years because there is nobody there who is really captaining the ship 100% of the time. We need somebody in Parks and Rec to rebuild it, to make it what it once was. And this would be a very large step towards that direction.
Your Honor, if I may just chime in, of course, you got to have funding for the parks, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
Through the chair?
Yes, ma'am.
When I'm looking at the proposed chart, you've got the Parks and Rec, clerical staff, recreation. Right now, the event coordinator is a budgeted position, and I don't see this in here.
That would fall under Parks and Rec. I think the organizational chart in there is just kind of highlighting the changes for the most part.
And then my next question, and we discussed this afternoon, as far as the Parks and Rec go, where is the funding going to go? You say grants, but that's not giving us anything conclusive to look at to pay how we're going to do this. And with separating like this and having a director of Parks and Recreation, I would expect the city parks to be better maintained. Where's the funding besides the grants you're talking about? We need definite answers on what we're going to have.
Well, we'll have to fund it through the general fund at some point. But having a dedicated Parks and Rec director in there to put together a plan for what it is we need to do to prioritize will help us identify how much funding and what funding we need.
Through the chair, if I may.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I apologize.
I just want to see, we have all these beautiful parks, and it should be an asset to our city, and I want to see, with the separation of duties, that the parks are going to get the attention they need and brought up to where they should be for our community and for potential new residents in our community. It's a very good selling point, and it's been laxed too long, and I just don't see how we're going to do it financially, with other than, well, we're going to get a grant, we're going to do this. Well, what if we don't? Then we've separated everything, and our parks are still not getting the attention they need. And that worries me. That's it.
All right. You all set?
Yeah, I didn't really...
Okay. Councilor Kelsey?
I'm
go ahead,
sorry,
go
through
ahead.
the chair, our parks do need a lot of attention. I support this because I think that they will get more attention. Money is an issue, obviously, but one way or the other, we're going to have to spend it.
All right, then I heard Councilman Kelsey next.
Yes, I'm for putting this on hold because I don't have any job descriptions. We don't even know, I mean, right now, we have no, who's doing it, I mean, you're right, we don't have, but who's doing the CBG? I mean, we have a federal requirement that we have to have, things to continue on. And the other thing is, I don't know the duties. I mean, I like to see how the structure is going to be. And the last thing is, I agree with Councilman Tobin, is that grants are great, but we don't have a grant writer. Fire department's got a grant writer, because I seen the cost on the payables this afternoon. So if we hired a grant writer, I'd be more told to do that, because now we have at least a person to do it. Who's going to write? Those grants aren't easy to write. You know that. I mean, I assume, because, so this bit about putting a structure in place without, I guess, duties and money or something doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. And I apologize if I said something wrong, but it's nothing against you. It just doesn't jive with me. That's all. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Further from council? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
No.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
No.
Tobin,
No.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, then. Next item. Almost crossed that off. Can't do that. Our next item, action item, has cover letter from Robert Brazel, our assessor. And in background, the Board of Review hears and determines appeals along with specific matters concerning real and personal property assessments and/or classifications. The Board of Review is one of the only opportunities in which a taxpayer may appeal before taxation on their real and/or personal property. There are 3 periods during the year in which the Board of Review's work must be complete based on statutory mandates. These are the March Board of Review, July Board of Review, and December Board of Review. The Mayor and City Council is charged with establishing the compensation of the members of the Board of Review. As the City of Lincoln Park entered into a shared assessing service agreement with the City of Melvindale in 2019, it is recommended that the Office of the Assessor to provide a consistent rate of pay so that the agreement is executed in a uniform manner. For the March Board of Review organizational meeting, the current rate of pay for Lincoln Park is 0, whereas Lincoln Park where Melvindale has a rate of pay of $50. March Board of Review, the current Lincoln Park rate of pay is $125 per day, while Melvindale's is $200 per day. July Board of Review is $50 per day, where the current rate for the City of Melvindale is $100 per day. December Board of Review, Lincoln Parks is $50 per day, whereas the current Melvindale rate of pay is $100 per day. Board of Review training required per MCL 211.10G. Current rate for Lincoln Park is 0, and the current rate of pay for the Melvindale is $100 per day. There's a recommendation, the council to approve the resolution to increase the compensation rate. So, resolution is, whereas the City of Lincoln Park entered into a shared assessing service agreement with the City of Melvindale in 2019, whereas the Office of the Assessor seeks to have consistency in the operation of the procedures of both cities, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council adopt the compensation rates for the Lincoln Park Board of Review members as follows. March Board of Review organizational meeting, $100. March Board of Review,
Pick up the revised one.
I did not pick up the revised one.
That amount is $100. Just that top line, just change it to 100.
The March Board of Review
I'm sorry, it's 50. You have the 100.
March Board of Review organizational meeting, $50. March Board of Review,
They're all the same.
$200 per day. July Board of Review, $100 per day. December Board of Review, $100 per day. State required training, $100 per day.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Robert, go ahead.
Board of Review is a tough job. We've been trying to get our 3rd member for 2 years. We may have one as of today. We've had 3 people turn it down. these guys deal with the taxpayers at the taxpayers' worst possible moments. It's tough. I've been on a board of review and in 44 years as an assessor, it's brutally difficult. When somebody comes in and asks for a hardship, you're hearing them at their worst possible time. Nobody likes to come in and beg for money. And it takes a very special person to be able to do this. And I'd like to have them be compensated the same as Melvindale.
Robert, compensation for council and the city treasurer, city clerk is done through the compensation commission, but you're saying that the ability to set the rate of pay for the board of review is through the mayor and council?
Yes.
All right, Ed, is that?
That's correct.
Is that, our city attorney says that that's correct, so thank you.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Out of turn. Through the chair. Bob, right now, we pay a lot less than this, am I correct?
We do.
I mean, a lot less, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
So, obviously, and I'm not speaking, other communities, what do they pay? I mean, they're within, what I'm saying is, they pay more than we do based upon the ability to get certain people and compensate them for their time, I guess, is what my
Yes.
question is.
When I was on a board of review in 1994 and 1995 in Shelby Township, I made more than we pay now.
Okay, thank you. I think that's what I was asking. Thanks, Bob. Thank you, Your Honor.
A further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes, and Mr. Brazel, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Thanks, Bob.
Next item is resolved that Matthew Whitby, owner of DBC America, 1530 John A. Pappas Drive B, and is hereby appointed to the Economic Development Corporation / Brownfield Redevelopment Authority to fill the unexpired term of Melissa Knox, term to expire May 1, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Salcido.
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next, we have resolved that Christine Kerr, owner of Vito's Pizzeria, 3962 Fort Street, be and is hereby appointed to the Economic Development Corporation / Brownfield Redevelopment Authority to fill the unexpired term of Chad Jude, term to expire May 1, 2026.
So move.
Support.
Discussion?
Yes, if I may, through the chair. In the applicant, it puts down here in the last thing, does the applicant have any potential conflicts of interest? And it says no. They have a loan through the EDC, if I'm not mistaken, Your Honor. And obviously, if they're going to sit on that board, they're going to talk about loans and everything else, and I just think it's, my opinion, I don't think it's a good fit based upon not the person, just the fact that they have a loan through the board. That's all, Your
Over
Honor.
the course of the years, Gary Egglesfield, who sits on the board, had a current loan with the EDC for some work to be done. Debbie Van Cleve, when she was owner of Petrie's Bicycle, had a loan with the EDC, and while she continued to serve on the board. Mike Busen, when he was with Busen Appliance, had a loan from that. And they just, when anything came up in reference to their loan, they would just abstain themselves. But we have the city attorney that can address
Yes,
that.
Your Honor, you're correct. Under the ethics policies, the ethics ordinance with the city of Lincoln Park, there'd have to be a clear hands-on activity to show the perceived or the apparent conflict of interest. You could take that one step further and say that every elected official has a water account with the community too, and they owe the water bill, and there's a potential conflict of interest when you set water rates. So that would really be taking it beyond the general pale of what a conflict of interest would be. I reviewed it previously. There's an opinion that came out and same here with the EDC, although I'm not their attorney, years ago. The state statute doesn't preclude this type of membership. and the EDC operation is generally created as a separate public body corporate by the state. So it would not be a conflict, in my opinion.
And it was this process, the loan process, that she learned about what the EDC was about, and that's what piqued her interest, according to Ms. Kerr.
Okay.
We have, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't want to...
Further discussion?
Through the chair, if I may.
Yep.
That might be the opinion, but sitting where I'm sitting, I still disagree with it. I mean, I don't think it should be that way, and I'm aware of what the mayor's saying, and I don't think it should have been that way for those people. That's just me. We have, I don't know how many business people in Lincoln Park. I mean, I'm sure we can find somebody. If we can't, we got some serious problems in this city. Because the businesses, if they don't want to step up and be part of the process, then, you know, they're not going to be part of the solution. That's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Salcido,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
No.
Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. No, the EDC meets tomorrow, and we can get these two in there. That would definitely help towards a quorum.
Just
We'll
need to
just-
visit me tomorrow, get sworn in.
Yes. Because they cannot do anything without being sworn in. All right. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything on this. Next item that we have is, has a cover letter from Carl Malash, our DDA, EDC Director. In background, the City of Lincoln Park has a contract with Great Lakes Contracting for emergency repair work that includes concrete and related items. This contract is being administered by the DPS. Last fall, the DDA performed a site inspection of sidewalk conditions in the downtown from Monty Road to Garfield Avenue. Cost estimates were prepared and a contract amendment was executed between the DDA and Great Lakes Contracting. The DDA respectfully requests the City Council to authorize the mayor and city clerk to ratify this amendment, $205,146.40. The pertinent documents are attached. In budget impact, there will be no impact on the city's general budget. Requisite funding will come from the DDA budget. The DDA has approved this expenditure. Whereas the City of Lincoln Park City Council awarded the 2020 utility concrete repair program to the Great Lakes Contract Solutions on June 1, 2020, and said contract is still in effect. Whereas the Lincoln Park Downtown Development Authority, DDA, has developed and adopted a contract amendment dated December 15, 2021, in the amount of $205,146.40 to the implement sidewalk repairs and improvements along 4th Street corridor as per Exhibit A attached. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the amendment to the 2020 utility concrete repair program as proposed per Exhibit A, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the necessary documents. Funds to come from account number 747-100-983-000 DDA capital expenditures.
So move.
Support.
Okay, discussion? All right, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from Raymond Waters, our chief of police. And what the Lincoln Park Police Department is requesting council to waive the bid process and allow the police department to purchase a new vigilant server and security camera system for the police department. Actron Security has provided a GSA set bid/quote of $31,374.39 to replace and update our current security system. This includes a 3-year warranty on all parts and labor. The why, the police department current security camera system that monitors the jail cells, booking room, and exterior of the building has crashed and can no longer be fixed. At the time of the server crash, we had 2 cameras on the system that were not working and several others that needed to be replaced because they were older analog cameras. This update will include 18 new cameras, a server, 2 monitors that will replace our broken server and out-of-date cameras. The new system will allow front desk to perform vital tasks and monitor the jail cells, booking rooms, prison receiving areas, and the exterior of the building. Actron is a Lincoln Park-based company that has recently installed the same vigilant camera system in Allen Park PD, Rockwood PD, Woodhaven PD, Romulus PD, Flat Rock PD, Riverview PD, and Brownstown PD. We'll just move to the resolution here. Whereas, the Lincoln Park Police Department is requesting to purchase a new vigilant server and security camera system. Be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize the police department to waive the bidding process and purchase a vigilant server and security camera system for the police department for a cost of $31,374.39 from Akron Security, a My Deal participant. Be it further resolved, funds for the purchase of the server and camera system to come from the police department's technology account number 101-305-940.
So moved. Support.
Okay, discussion?
Question, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Curiosity is getting the best of me. I'm just curious as to how old the current system is.
7 years.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief says 7 years.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey?
I don't think
I'm
I
sorry.
made it.
Okay.
I thought you said it was Mr. Kelsey. I apologize. Councilperson Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
That's me, yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right, so now this is where this comes in.
Yes.
All right, our next item has a cover letter from our DPS Director, John Kazoo. No, I'm sorry, it comes from Carrie Kerr, our City Clerk. Our DPS Director, John Kazoo, discovered the ordinance 1042.03 regarding water service pipes still has wording that allows lead to be used for water services lines. We all know that this is no longer an acceptable material, and this wording needs to be removed as quickly as possible. After consulting with James Hollingsworth of Hennessy Engineers, we're bringing you a resolution to amend Chapter 1042.03 to update the wording. So resolved that an ordinance to amend Part 10, Title 4 of the codified ordinances of the City of Lincoln Park by repealing and replacing Section .03 of Chapter 1042 entitled Service Pipes be given its first and second reading by title only. The City of Lincoln Park ordains that Part 10 of the codified ordinance for the City of Lincoln Park, Title 4, Chapter 1042, Section .03 entitled Service Pipes, be and is hereby amended by repealing and replacing the entire section.
I'll move.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. That was a nice catch. That's the pipes. Next item has a cover letter from James Krazan, our city manager. We also had a study session reference to this just prior to this meeting. In background, the city street sweepers have reached the end of their useful service life. All 4 are over 17 years old and continue to have significant repair issues. Purchasing sweepers outright would have a significant negative impact to the cash flow for the city. It is thus recommended that city either finance or lease the vehicles. The most recent quote for financing sweeper provides an annual interest rate of 2.93% for 5 years. As presented, the evaluation and study session, the administration recommends replacing 2 sweepers. The result This will result in the annual payment of approximately $98,000 for each of the 5 years. While the city could receive a slightly lower interest rate and thereby cut overall cost by financing over 3 years, the annual payment would be higher and therefore impact other needed fleet upgrades. All right, so resolution is, whereas the DPS is in need of the replacement of its current fleet of street sweepers, whereas the city is in receipt of a quote for the purchase and financing of street sweepers, be it resolved the mayor and council authorize the purchase and financing of 2 new street sweepers. Be it further resolved, the mayor and council authorize the annual expenditure of $97,950.25 out of account number 661-932-947000 for the next 5 years as indicated in the proposal.
I'll move.
Support.
Now, this the resolution doesn't have where it's being proposed to lease from.
We're going to use our... So this is not to lease, this is to purchase, but finance the purchase. And this is to go through the bank that we've been using in the past to purchase, like for leasing these, or financing these types of purchases.
Yes, but we have something that says that this is the price that we're
Yes.
going to be.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
It says lease in the packet, I believe.
Financing. The resolution says financing, and the quote is to finance.
Okay, but we're purchasing it from, we get approval
So-
for the expenditure, we're purchasing it from a certain company.
We're purchasing it from Bell Equipment, but financing it through a bank. We're not using their financing.
Okay. So I would think that Bell Equipment needs to be in our resolution at some point.
Sure.
I mean, in my city clerk, is that ordinarily, okay.
That is ordinarily.
So, just a line under being resolved, the sweepers will be purchased from
Bell Equipment
Bell Equipment.
and finance through First Republic or Republic First National.
Okay. Is that good with the mover and supporter?
Yep.
All right, then we'll open it up for discussion.
And like, why is it 2? We didn't even agree on it when we had the study session. So why do we put down 2? Can we make it, change it, and make it what number, excuse me, and make it, can I put forth a resolution to make it 4?
You'd want to do a resolution to amend this.
It would be
Yes.
amend, yeah, because, obviously in study session, I want to put a resolution that we amend this to 4 and go from there.
Support.
Do we have a support?
Okay, then discussion on the amendment. It was discussed in the study session that 4 sweepers was more than the city actually needed. It's more than what the city of Taylor runs with, and Taylor is almost double the size. And say that we probably need more than 2, but I don't think that 4 would be in that. That's my input on that.
Through the chair,
Yes, sir.
when the owner of Bell Equipment was speaking, he said that Taylor will have 4, that they have 1 on order. And they also had leaf sucker. Was it 1 or 2 leaf suckers, John, June? But what's stated in here didn't match with what the owner of Bell said that he sold to Taylor. So they actually have more equipment than what's on this graph.
It was discussed also on the study session is that there are currently personnel to man 3 teams, which would be three sweepers. And
Yes.
and I can't see the expenditures of the 4th, if we're talking about 3, just so that it could sit and be waiting there for a spare. I mean, we're not that far out of the receivership here then to where we can just throw money from this. And
Through the chair, I would be fine with
that may
3.
be needed, but it's not direly needed. Yes, the employees might like it, I mean, but there's not an employee here that would not like additional equipment.
Right, I understand that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would be happy to amend it to 3 sweepers, since that's what we have the staffing for right now. We have 6 people.
We have an amendment for 4, which is what
correct.
we're discussing. Which
Okay.
is what we're discussing right now. That's the amendment that we're currently talking.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
We just had our department gentleman stand up there and say what the process was and how he was going to do it. And again, I don't do the job. I mean, I'd like to do the job if I was getting paid, but I'm not doing the job. The other thing is, we've been through this before, even with 4 sweepers, because we held on to them too long and never took care of the roads. Also, we never replaced the sweepers because we couldn't replace them, and we never can replace them because we don't have the money. So there's a real box that you're in. My point is if you're going to spend the money, say we get less, and we don't do the roads, somebody's got to explain why we're not doing the roads. I just think that 4 is a number that worked in the past. Unfortunately, we're in this critical condition where the previous councils, the budgets couldn't stand it, whatever the case may be. Now we're left with the same thing in 2004 where they voted for 4. I mean, I just have an issue with the fact that we ask our department head and we get information and we say, that's not really what we want. And through the chair, we've also are aware of the fact that they can man it, like the gentleman, Mr. Kazoo, said. So I'm confused why we're not going with the 4 and just doing the job we're supposed to do and do the sweeping, which we haven't done, even halfway. Thank you, Your Honor.
Through the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if I remember right, okay, we have the 4 sweepers, but they were constantly breaking down. So at any given time, we only had, 2 running? So we got the job done with 2.
Through the chair? Already done.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
point.
We're discussing the amendment right now. Go ahead, sir.
I would love to buy 4. But I think that our budget situation is what it is, and we need to be responsible. I would like to suggest that we buy the 2, and we revisit this in 1 year, and I'd like it carved in stone in the amendment, that we come back in 1 year and discuss whether or not 2 was enough. Can we afford a 3rd one? Can we afford a 4th one? I want at least a temporary solution to this situation, but I want looking forward to resolving the issue once and for all. We have got to get back onto where we are, we cannot afford to keep buying fleets all at one time for anything that we're doing. And we went through a period where we didn't buy anything for so long that all our vehicles are in bad shape. But we need to start staggering our buying. If we buy 2 now, maybe we can afford 2 in 2 years, and let's look at what we need in 2 years. Or I would like to look at it in 1 year's time, and I would like that in this, what we passed tonight, a solid date. Because I think that we have to be, where we need to take care of our streets, we also have to be physically responsible.
Through the chair, if I may.
Well, hold on.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I'm done.
I
Hold
apologize.
on, we're talking about
The 4.
the amendment here for the 4. Is there other council members that want to be heard in reference to Councilwoman Dupre? She said, to go ahead.
I agree with Councilman Higgins. I think that we need sweepers, obviously. 2 is half of what they're saying we need. But if we can get 2 that are working and not constantly down, I think that we could make some progress. And then, again, as Councilman Higgins said, we can revisit this in a year. The budget is still shaky for Lincoln Park. So it's not something that we can just trot into and say, okay, let's get 4. It is just such a big purchase.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
This council just approved to have another job with a high wage included in regards to the CDBG and the Parks and Recreation. So perhaps had we thought about that in the past, maybe we could have got a third one. So I'm going to go with the original motion and just purchase 2.
Okay, but if we're talking continual discussion on the amendment to the resolution. So, Councilman Kelsey?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
More on this?
Yes, I would, being I was the amendment person. The problem being is the fact, and I agree with Mike saying, but I served 8 years on here. Mike served probably more or whatever, and we've never had money, period, never. We went into the receivership, because why? We had a $2 or $3 million surplus, and we spent it. But if you look at the pieces of equipment we buy, they're expensive. That Vector truck is $200-some thousand for a Vector. That tractor for that trailer is like, a lot of money. Nothing's going to be cheap. It ain't going to be cheap next year, and it ain't going to be cheap this year. The trouble you have is if you're going to buy 2, the reason you buy 4 is so you don't get into the residents complaining about how much you spent and now you still can't do the job. And we've all heard it, and none of us have had an answer for it because it's always been money. We don't have any money. So my point of it is you spend the money, you find a way to do it, because in a year, how are you going to find the money next year? There's going to be no change. We got the same tax base. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
I agree with what my colleague is saying. Money is money, and the fact that we're talking about millions of dollars, and we owe it to the taxpayers, and we owe it to the citizens to spend that money frugally, and look at what we can get by with until we can afford more. And I'm not saying I don't want the 4. I'm saying let's put it off a year and then make another decision.
Okay, do we have further discussion on the amendment? And clerk call the roll on the amendment to change to
4 sweepers.
4 sweepers.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Dupre,
No.
Higgins,
No.
Ross,
No.
Salcido,
No.
Mayor Carnes.
No.
That motion failed. So we go back to the original motion.
We're back to the original.
I would like to make a resolution to add to the resolution, that we revisit this in exactly 1 year, to discuss whether or not they are working with 2, and whether or not we can afford a 3rd or 4th.
Is there support?
I'll support that.
Okay, discussion on the amendment?
Your
Hearing-
Honor, I'm going to suggest that because it's not a change in the actual figure, that if the mover in the support of the original resolution accept this as a mandatory language, there's no vocal objection, that it just be part of one resolution read for vote, if they accept that language.
Was the mover and supporter of the original?
Councilwoman Ross and Dupre.
Is that,
Yep.
okay? Then we're back to the original. Is there further?
Motion with the added language
Yeah.
to revisit in 1 year.
Yes.
Okay,
Is there
And,
further?
Your Honor, I want a firm date in that resolution.
give me one.
1 year from today, what's the date?
February 7th,
Okay, the closest meeting to that, February 7th.
okay.
The first February,
First meeting in
First
February.
First meeting.
That would be fine.
yep.
That would be February 6th, 2023.
Thank you.
2623. Ooh-wee.
Thank you.
All right, further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
No.
Salcido,
Yes.
Tobin, and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, so that goes there. Next item is from our Chief of Police, Raymond Waters. And his cover letter is the Lincoln Park Police Department is requesting to send Christian Diozegi to the Kalamazoo Valley Police Academy. The Police Academy is located at 7107 Elm Valley Drive, Kalamazoo, Michigan, 49009. It will be in session from January 24th to May 13, 2022. Academy will teach Christian the basic training mandated by the Michigan Commission of Law Enforcement to be certified as a law enforcement officer in the state of Michigan. He will be instructed on procedures, investigation, and patrol procedures, police skills, detention, prosecution, special operations, and traffic control, in addition to the extensive classroom training. Christian will get hands-on training with firearms, arrest, defensive tactics, investigation, precision driving, and evidence collection. The why of it is the police department is currently short 7 officers and difficulty recruiting good, reliable officers to work for the City of Lincoln Park. City of Lincoln Park will hire Christian Diozegi and pay for his police academy training. After graduating, Diozegi will be sworn in and begin working for the Lincoln Park Police Department. Mr. Diozegi has agreed to sign a 2-year agreement with the police department. If he leaves prior to completing the 2 years of service at the City of Lincoln Park, he will reimburse the police department the cost of the police academy.
So moved.
Hold on. So, resolve that mayor and council authorize Lincoln Park Police Department to send Christian Diozegi to the Kalamazoo Valley Police Academy in Kalamazoo, Michigan. The academy will be in session from January 24, 2022 through May 13, 2022. The cost of the academy is $8,300 plus an additional $650 for uniforms. Be it further resolved, funds to come from the police department's training account number 101-305-960.
So move.
Support.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed the mover.
Discussion? I mean, this is a return to days of old, because of previous times, if you were to be hired as a police officer, then the department would send you to the academy while you were an employee of the city. I think the city of Detroit does this also, and it's a way to ensure good candidates. But we'll open it up for discussion.
Through the chair,
Yes, sir.
I just want to double check with Ed on the legality of a 2-year agreement.
Well, it's part of an employment agreement, Your Honor, and if the 2 years is the hiring prerogative that council approves that they use the police department, it'd be the burden on the other party to challenge legality, but if he enters into it freely, then he's stuck, I guess is the nicest way to put it.
Further discussion? Excuse me. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right. Now we have the item that was from the consent agenda, and then cover letter from James Krasander, City Manager. During the January 18, 2022 City Council meeting, the idea of putting together a goal-setting session was mentioned. I began to research the various consultants who do this work. Consistently, the name that appeared at the top of the list was Dr. Bender. I contacted Dr. Bender, and after we discussed the various needs, he sent along a proposal for the services we're looking to receive. The project would involve an evening meeting proposed to be May 9th, where we would meet to identify long-term goals and one-year tasks for achieving these goals. The project will ultimately culminate in a document that will be presented for the final council approval. This document will help guide the city through the next year. Dr. Bender has a proposed cost of $2,500 for this service. It's my experience with other facilitators, this cost is less than I anticipated. So whereas the mayor and city council desire to identify an agreed-upon direction and the goals to be accomplished by the city, whereas the city manager has solicited a proposal for a facilitator to provide the professional services of helping the mayor and council identify this shared direction and goals to achieve this direction. Be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the proposal from Dr. Lou Bender for facilitation services at a cost of $2,500 plus limited travel expenditures. Be it further resolved, the mayor and city council set a special meeting to be held Monday, May 9th, 2022, beginning at 5:30 PM.
I'll move.
I'll support.
Discussion?
Yes, Your Honor. Through the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
This is a great idea. I believe it's well put together. Dr. Bender, I did some research on him. He's got extensive history on, what do you call it, like riling up the troops. He's got a real good history. However, this is an election year, and we don't know what council is going to be up here in November. So I think $2,500 we can save, and perhaps after November, we'll let that council have this training. We don't know who's going to be here in November. I think $2,500 plus mileage from northern Michigan. I would just postpone this till probably December or January. Like I say, nothing against Dr. Bender or the idea, but it's just $2,500 I don't want to spend. I'm not in favor of this motion at all.
I understand. We have a duty while we are still here, to November, to get direction of where we are needed. We have a city manager who has to have direction from us of what it is that he should be setting his goals and what we want to accomplish. So yes, it is a circumstance where there are only going to be 6 months left after this duration. There's still a lot that can be accomplished for 6 months. And I think that it's worth the $2,500 to do that whether it be almost like a team building exercise in developing these goals to have this council then for their last 6 months before it, some carry on, some may not. But it sets the direction, and then if the new council come in and wants to build on that, well then that's what we're willing to do, or to change it all. But we're not in a position where we should wait 6 months. A lot can happen during the course of that, and we need to have the direction of where we're going to head, and we all have to come to an agreement on what that direction is. So that's my 2 cents.
If I may rebuttal your little comment, I appreciate your concern. However, once again, this council's been on board for almost 2 years. The next council in November may have different goals and objectives. Therefore, I see no reason to spend $2,500 plus mileage on goal-setting ideas, which who knows is going to be sitting here next. They may have different objectives, and that would be $2,500 plus mileage and lodging that could be well spent. So I'll leave it at that and call the roll.
If I may, having an established set of goals and priorities from the 7 of you helps the administration when there becomes competing priorities between the 7 of you. If you guys all have agreed on a certain set of goals, that's the direction we're going to head. And if somebody comes with some kind of competing or a totally different idea, we'll ask you to come back to this body to amend those goals. It will help for better management of the city over the next 6 months and over the next couple of years. You might remember in our DPS evaluation, one of the recommendations was being able to better communicate the long-term vision and goals to the staff. We can't do that without setting that long-term goals and vision. So it's another thing where, yeah, I totally understand waiting the 6 months. But this is something we almost should start getting into the habit of doing on an annual basis. The Governmental Finance Officers Association recommends having long-term goals that you set ahead of doing your budget annually. It's a best practice. It's something we should be doing. And I guess that's what I'll throw out there.
Mr. President, if I can just comment on that. Once again, all of us here at council have objectives and goals. We're all trying to achieve the same subject. I'm just trying to save the city 2,500 plus, so I'll call the question unless you want further discussion. I'm just not in favor of this motion at this time in an election year. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, is there, I mean, I understand that you want him to come and run this, but is there a reason why we can't sit as a council and set goals and what we want without having to spend this money? I mean, we spent all the money for the DPS study, and I don't really think it was that helpful in any regards. And now we want to spend more money to do something, and I think it's something that we could do as a council.
I disagreed, but, I mean, that's your opinion on this. You need somebody that's a trained facilitator that has gone through this successfully with other communities. If you look at the packet, he's been through numerous, to where he has gone through and had successful sessions with these. I think it's just, if we just have it among ourselves, then it's going to get lost in the long run. I think we haven't done this before. I think it's something that it shows. I think the $2,500 will be well spent, then $500 or whatever, so you might as well figure $300 that will be well spent for us to give it a try. And if it works and is successful, then it's something that you plan for and you budget for every May or the beginning, the cycle before the budget. That's what we're looking for, to bring an added level of professionalism. That's all.
And I'll add, having gone through both an in-house led process as well as bringing in a consultant to really facilitate, you notice a big difference. The outside facilitator has the ability to say things that the 8 of us up here wouldn't. Has the ability of having the clear-eyed kind of look at everything, and can really probe and question better than any of us could.
Well, thank you for your explanation, because obviously we haven't done it, so I'm looking for clarity on it. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion?
Through the chair,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just want to make a comment. Every other year is an election year. So if we don't do it in election years, we're doing it every other year. Just saying.
Okay, further discussion from
Yes,
council?
through the chair, if I may. When I came on council, if I'm not mistaken, Your Honor, we set goals. And we sat down with Matt Kapler and gave him some direction, because he was asking the same thing, what are we going to do? Those goals still haven't met by the present administration. The dog kennel, the other stuff I can go on to, that got lost, okay? But yet, that was part of the thing. We did, by the emergency manager, we do a 5-year budget. Why? Because it makes sense. We've done it ever since the emergency manager. We don't do a 2-year, we do a 5-year. We adjust it, but it was done 5 years. And I've been a politician probably the same, maybe a little longer than Councilman Calcita from other places, and yeah, it makes sense to wait until do it the first week they're there. That way you got 2 years, because if I come into a place and you tell me I gotta do A, B, and C, I'm elected. That's not what I told my constituents when I ran to get elected. And I hate to say that, but that's real life. And going back to the DPS study, that's still in the air. We paid whatever money for that. And that, I've been through facilities before where I come from. Yes, they are great. Yes, they do a good job. But it's not the timing to do it. We're going to be in office for 6 months. It'll take you a while to get the facilitator. Then we have to go through the meeting. Then we have to set the goals. Then you have to accept the goals or start working on them. That doesn't make sense to me. And so I don't agree with this. Thank you. That's all I got.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make an amendment that we change the date to the first meeting in December.
Support.
That makes sense.
To the first meeting in December.
In December.
Well, sir, what you're doing then, by doing that, would be putting this council's views and everything onto the next coming council.
No.
Without them.
No,
without
I'm
them-
just giving them the choice to make
No,
their
without,
decisions.
I mean, you're putting things in place for the new council to come in.
Yes. I'm trying to set it up so it becomes a biannual thing with the council. I'm trying to give the next council the advice that this is a good idea. I absolutely believe this is a good idea. But I think that it should be started at the start of the year, at the start of the new council, new leaders of the city, that these sit down and make the decisions. I'm just saying that we facilitate the first one, that we give them the power to do this without thinking about it. Okay? Now you have a new group of people. You may have 7 new people. And let them make their decisions to move the city forward. And I would like to put in the resolution that we recommend that it becomes a biannual meeting, so that the city looks at that.
I don't like the idea of putting a cost on a future administration. So we're telling them to pay the $2,500, and it's going to be something that they have no say in other than maybe canceling at that point. So I could see going and doing the initial one, and then with the recommendation that it's done on an annual basis. But, I mean, either we do it or we don't. I mean, we don't push it off on the next council 7 months down the road.
I believe I made a motion, and there's a second. I'm calling for the vote.
Okay, and that would be an amendment to,
Amendment to move this meeting to the first meeting in December.
I still have a comment, though, Your Honor.
well, his call for the vote, he didn't call for the question.
I didn't get to
Mr.
voice
City
my
Attorney?
opinion.
I have no problem, Lillian, or anybody else who wants to talk, I have no problem with that.
No, they're all entitled to voice, even on the amendment if it's related to the original resolution.
Okay, I have a question for the city attorney, though. As a body, can we do a resolution that impacts, that orders the future body to act?
Well, and they can certainly move to undo it. Your Honor, you could pass nearly anything you want here, including buying 2 sweepers instead of 4 and having them look at it again in a year. So theoretically, you can bind council and other action, they can unbind themselves too. So you could pass that resolution, they could rescind it when it comes. The question is what are you attempting to accomplish here, and what's the most practical date to do it? Because theoretically, you're instructing a council to have a meeting. To that extent, it's not expending resources. Council could then rescind that resolution and rescind the contract, I would guess, with the...
So the question is, on the amendment, are you saying to pay the $2,500?
Yes, I'd be willing to pay for the future of the city.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Hold on. We have Councilwoman Ross.
Well, I think we have an obligation to our positions to work through each and every day until the next group is elected. It doesn't mean put it off to the other ones. We've got 6 months that we could get stuff done.
8 months.
9 months from now,
Oh,
right now.
okay. Even better. But from this meeting date of May the 9th, right, we can get things done. COVID has stopped us from doing a lot of things, and I'm ready to go. I want us moving forward, and I want us moving forward now.
Through the
I
chair, Your
think,
Honor.
I think
We have
waiting,
Something here, and we have citizen comments also. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think waiting for a new group of elected officials is not the way to do it. If you have brand-new people elected, it takes a while to get to know what the departments do, what the business is. We're the ones that have been sitting here. We know. I think we need to put our experience to work. That's it, Your Honor.
Final comment?
Yeah.
Listen, the whole premise of this is, we don't know what's going to happen in November. None of us could be here in November. We're going to spend $2,500. We may not be here. That's in May. 6 months later is November. We may not be here. What good would this class be if we're not here?
So
That's the
provide
whole
them a
point.
foundation.
We're a viable council now. We're getting things done. This class, highly touted Dr. Bender, is a really good idea. However, we don't know who's going to be here in November. And why would we waste that money? We're talking about money all night. That's my final thought. So let's call the vote. I'm whatever the council suggests, I'm in favor.
Higgins.
My goodness. We have someone from the audience, Mr. Mayor?
Who is a supporter on the amendment?
Carlos.
Okay, we had,
I have one more comment if okay. We don't have to put in it specifically has to be with this gentleman. It could be with whoever the new council chooses. Well, I'm just saying we want to have them to have this meeting. Because it was said that maybe he will not be available at that time, or maybe for whatever reason. So I want to eliminate that issue.
Well, if I may, I think that the issue would be more dictating the exact date
Yeah, the
as
date.
opposed to,
Right, the date.
right,
is
so
what
if
I
we could
wanted.
say, if you want it in December, we could try and aim for
Right,
a date, but I wouldn't handcuff the date.
okay.
we had a citizen comment? You're going to do 3 minutes, sir.
Sure thing. Good evening, Richard Kudrak. You people hire experts all the time. Plant Moran talks to you about your finances. Hennessy talks to you about your infrastructure. You bring in labor attorneys, people who have subject matter experts, but they're talking about things that are today. You're talking about today's budgets, today's infrastructure, today's labor contracts. Here you have a subject matter expert who can help you look into the future. Regardless of who's sitting in this council, he's going to provide information to the city, not to any one of you on an individual basis. So I think who's sitting in these seats in November is a bogus argument. $2,500 from a subject matter expert who has a history of providing you a blueprint for the future seems to be a pretty cheap expense. Thank you very much.
Anything further from the audience? Seeing none, so we would vote on the amendment.
Amendment to move the date of the meeting to December of this year. We were not going to set a specific date, but December.
December, that's fine.
So there will be no cost then, with the amendment.
Not in this amendment, no.
All right, so everyone knows what we're voting on here. This is the amendment to move it to December, right?
Right.
So clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Dupre,
No.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
No.
Tobin,
No.
and Mayor Carnes.
No.
Amendment failed.
We'll vote on the original resolution. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
No.
Salcido,
No.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is it for the action items. We have accounts and claims payable. The Blue Cross Blue Shield has been paid, check release for due date. So resolved that the accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. Blue Cross Blue Shield. December 2021 retiree med ADV plans, retirees and actives, $194,028.22. Dunn River Utility Wastewater Authority, November 2021 sewage/usage user fees, $117,989.12. GV Cement, mine says 73123, 2021 Concrete Reconstruction Program number 12, $340,789.13. GFL Dumpster Service, City Buildings and Residential and Recycling Collection, $217,681.16. Great Lakes Water Authority, December 2021 water, $201,868.76. Hennessy Engineers and General Consulting, Utility Repairs, 2021 water loss leak study, water distribution operation, North Shore Drive sewer repair, EPA risk and resiliency assessment, City Hall, HVAC, electric repairs, Lafayette water main relocate, CDBG concrete reconstruction meeting, 2021 concrete sectioning program, 2021 concrete reconstruction, $37,391.22. McKenna Associates, November, December 2021 building department services / permits, project number 21762, $105,575.17. MERS, January 2022 defined benefit, $246,097.
I'll move.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Salcido? And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right, we've reached the time for the city manager's report. Mr. Krazan?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Just a couple of quick updates tonight. So just looking at where we're at currently with some staffing issues, we are currently in the process of scheduling some interviews for the open events coordinator position. Those interviews are hopefully going to be all done this week. We're also working, I know there's been some discussion about crossing guards. We're actually looking at modernizing the way the crossing guard setup, the pay and everything is, so we're going to be looking at that real soon. We have currently filled one of the vacant full-time DPS positions. We have another one in the wings here. So we should be back to full on the full-timers. We are working on scheduling interviews to fill the supervisor position, which will probably then end up create another vacancy that we'll fill again. But that's kind of the shuffle that happens at this point. The mayor did mention the snow event of last week. We were all looking at forecasts that were absolutely terrifying of 12 to potentially 18 inches, and we didn't quite get what panned out, but it was an excellent work between departments to coordinate and be able to get the snow emergency out, get it out early, make sure we were able to get out and clear the snow. The city is in receipt of proposals for the zoning ordinance rewrite. We received three bids. We're looking at the proposals, and there's a team that's evaluating them right now. And then finally, I sent all of you a little information regarding the DTE upcoming potential rate adjustments. This is a big one where they're looking at potentially 18% increases on what cities are paying for street lighting. There was about 7 years ago, there was a streetlight case like this that municipalities across the state got involved in and actually were able to affect some serious change. I'm anticipating having a short presentation at the next meeting from a group who's looking to do the same thing again this time. So look for that at the next meeting. With that, I am happy to answer any questions anybody might have tonight.
Through the chair?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
James, I have a couple questions. One thing I did want to talk about really quick is the city lots that were identified, or maybe not identified enough for the residents. We need to be a little more clear on some of the city lots. And a question that came up a lot, is it okay for residents to park in a school parking lot during a snow emergency?
Well, I can't speak for if the school would allow it. We can try and reach out and see if they'd allow it, but I can't speak for them. We did try and, when we put out the information on the snow emergency this time, we did try a new format that I think was able to get a little bit more information out there, a little more user-friendly, and I think in general it was pretty well received. But, yeah, that's something we can try and get a little better on with the lot locations. I'd like to actually put together a map at some point.
That
could
would be great, yes.
part of
Thank you- And thank you for the list of new businesses, by the way. That's very helpful. Are we actively working on any of the infrastructure, or is it something that's not weather permitting? Are we just planning still? Where are we?
Are you talking about construction at this point? So we're actively working on water main breaks, of course, because
Yes.
that's kind of the season. But this is in general in the kind of ebb and flow of the construction and trades. This is the planning time, right? We're planning the summer projects, planning all of that. So that's kind of where we're going right now, is we've got most of the projects planned, now it's in design, and then some of the ones we're going to have to put out to bid now.
Great, thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Since the water mains have been brought up, we are having a plethora of water main breaks, and I want to thank our DPS guys. They've been spending many, many hours out there in that frigid cold working on it. But we are having, and if you look at what we're having break in other cities around us, we are having much more breakage than anybody else. And our sewages are old, our infrastructure is old, but we're not that much older than the surrounding communities. Have we looked into what else might be causing this issue? Have we had a water surge? Is our water pumps working? This is causing me great interest, and I also want to know, because we're working our guys to death, about how much money we're pouring into this.
Yeah, we're pouring a ton of money into it. There's no denying that. And the guys have been unbelievable. Especially we had a couple, we still have a couple who are out with injuries. A lot of other guys are picking up a lot of slack. We've got help with our emergency contractor. But I think we're seeing a good long time of not replacing infrastructure really coming home to roost right now. And it's not just us. It may seem like it. It is nationwide, and specifically statewide. The state consistently gets the lowest rating for infrastructure across the country. We're always in the Ds when they do the annual report of infrastructure. So unfortunately, it's going, especially the stuff underground, people don't see it, right? They only see it when it comes above ground. And so for years, there has been a lack of investment, and we're seeing the results of that now. And we're looking to get our system fully back to shape. We're going to have to spend a lot of money for a long time.
Thank you. And if I may answer Councilwoman Dupre's question, after working 38 years for the maintenance department in the schools, I can tell you, no, the schools don't want you parking at the schools during the snow emergency, because we have to have everything cleaned up. After we're cleaned up, fine, but until we
That was
are,
my thought too, is you.
which is,
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Anything else for the city manager?
Yeah, through the chair, Your Honor.
Yep.
Me and the city manager have been discussing this issue, and he suggests I bring it up to the council for either a confidence vote or a no vote or whatever. But as most of you know, I've been asking for access to the DPS yard because of the reduction of the manpower and everything else there. And the contractors have access, and we have talked about it, myself and the city manager, and he suggested that I get the support of the council, and then he suggested that maybe that he'll give everybody access. I said, I don't care what you do. I said, I'm a liaison. All I want is the same access to the contractors, and not the same. I just want 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. But I guess that's where I'm at, and through the chair, I'd have to ask for some kind of nod or hand or whatever to give the city manager an indication either up or down. Thank you, Your Honor.
Through the chair, I think it would be logical, and because I know I also have gone over to the DPS and you can't get in, and I know other council people have had this same issue, that we could have a card here that the council could sign out, go over, and then we would be responsible to return it to City Hall. And that would solve that problem. If everybody else would be in agreement with that, I think that would be a way of stepping forward in this.
Through the chair to answer. I'm sorry.
That would work, I think. Yes, sir. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I didn't know you were talking, Your Honor. To address Councilman Higgins, normally that would be correct, but I'd have to come down here to get it and then drive to DPS. Second of all, the contractors don't come here to sign in and out. The contractors just go there. If you can't trust a council person, how are you trusting the contractors? And I'm not saying that the way it sounds, but what I'm saying is I just want the same kind of, we have key fobs to get in the building, all of us do, and they're all recorded what time that key fob comes in and out. It's a record. All I'm saying, make it easy for me, don't make it hard. If you make it hard, then it is what it is, okay? But that's all I'm asking for. Thank you.
To the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to state that I've been in this position with having access to doing things at the band shell and getting in trouble for doing the exact same thing you're asking. So I really think that as a council and as leaders in this city, we should all have access to whatever we want access to when we want it. I mean, there's no reason for a council person to feel on edge because they want to check something out in the city. I think that it's something that not only makes life easier for all of us, but also may be an opportunity to let people know that, you know what, we can pop in any time. And if we need access to something, I think we should be granted that access just by asking. I just don't think the tension involved in this kind of situation, because I know when it happened to me, I was very upset because I was busting my butt to get things done and give things to this city, and I was getting a hard time for it everywhere I went. And now you're asking for the same kind of access to do your job, and I was just trying to do what I was trying to do. So I think that it's very important that we give everybody this little bit of confidence in each other that, you know what, we're going to support each other on this, and if someone needs to do something, we're going to let them have access.
You can have access to the building where your liaison or any council by contacting the department head and making arrangements to go in there. That doesn't mean that you have carte blanche to go into the facility anytime that you want. That's not fair to our department heads, and it's not really your right as a council to do so. As individual council members, you don't have that right to go into whatever building that you wish to do and to see.
Okay, well, I didn't mean it like that,
Well,
sir.
but
I meant that if you are trying to do a job in your position as council, you should be granted access to do that position.
The access is available by reaching out to the department head and make arrangements saying, I'm coming down there at 9 o'clock, I would like to meet with you. That is as a former department head, that is the consideration that you do. You can't have their day based upon the whims of council people to come in. They have jobs to do.
I wasn't saying that
Well,
at
I'm not,
all.
understand that, and the issues that you had when you're an employee and trying to get things done for the events. I'm talking about the elected body having access to all buildings inside of the city is not correct.
Well, we
I mean,
have the
I don't
same
have
as the
access, I
public.
don't have access to, I'm the police department liaison, I'm the fire department liaison. If I go over to either of those, I make arrangements to meet with that department head and to go through and to do that. This isn't something where somebody should have access to the facility in the city just because he wants to have access to a facility. That's not how it works here.
But he can't get in if nobody is manning the gates. I mean, that's why the whole point of this is letting him
No,
get,
but if it going, contact, he has Mr. Kazoo's cell phone number and contact, and can make those arrangements to go in. I don't think that every council person needs access to every city facility here. I don't see that. I think, City Attorney, do you have an opinion on this?
Just a general observation for the benefit of council is I'm unaware of any community that gives a pass card to a specific department for a member of council, not the city of Detroit, not the city of Dearborn, certainly not the city of Southgate. They make arrangements because you're only one instead of the entire body. I think the suggestion of Councilman Higgins of having a card that you sign out for makes sense, primarily because in the distant past, when Mayor Saul was here, there was a problem over at the community center with missing properties. You were on the police department at the time, Your Honor. There was an investigation as to which individuals, including council members, may have had access to keys to go into the premises, and things turned up missing, and it took some time to resolve that. So it's wrought with and fraught with error to put the burden on an individual council member should something be missing, lacking, broken, that the suspicion would point to you. So I think you protect yourself by having something here that you sign out for, and you should have the right to get it to go in. But I will say this much, and the chief will tell, I have a pass card for the police department and nothing for anywhere else in the community, and I've been here for 43 years. And the reason is not even your attorney, who should have access to all the buildings, should just drop in unexpected on anyone. And the reason I have it there is if they need help on search warrants or anything else, Your Honor. And to show that example, I'm as an employee and an agent of the city, do not seek anything further. I know the city clerk doesn't have access, and she's the primary record keeper for all the departments. She's the one who accepts service to all the facilities. So if you're going to provide that access, I would say first let the city manager do a survey. That's what other communities do. But I know of none, including where you came from in Royal Oak, where no one has access, no elected officials. I understand that there may be meritorious purpose or meretricious purpose to get in, but it's the dropping in that created problems before. And I'm digressing for a long time. We had public safety commissioners who had access to the police department, would wander in. We had council members who would wander in and think they were running the police department back then, back in the old days, so.
So would
Go ahead.
the city manager doing a survey of the surrounding communities and getting back to us work for the time being, or is it?
If I can address that, Your Honor, we have a tendency of not doing what the surrounding communities do, quite frankly. We don't sweep the leaves out, we don't ticket the cars in there, so with all due respect, I'm using that as an example, not because, the second thing is, we're the highest body in this organization, as far as I know. We are the elected representatives. And going to the council, or the council attorney, I remember when there was an issue with the city hall where people were coming in, things were missing, but yet everybody has a key to city hall. And if you remember that, there were some documents missing here. I was here when that happened. So I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know what the big argument is. I really don't. It's almost like you think I'm going to walk away the truck, or that I'm going to go down there and harass somebody. I mean, that doesn't respect me as a council person. I'm simply asking for something that you give contractors. I got a real problem with that. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I do with that, too. I'm sorry. I don't care what Royal Oak does. I'm elected here. I'm the liaison here. Plain and simple. If you don't want me to be the liaison, I'd be more happy to give it up. Then you don't have the issue, and I don't have the issue. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Kazan? Do the survey of the surrounding communities?
That's not what, no.
Well, absent anything else, sir, I don't know what, I don't have direction here. If you want to do a resolution, I don't know if it's appropriate at the time to do a resolution.
I don't see,
Or
sorry.
if you want to do a straw vote, or,
I would just like to the chair, I just like a straw vote the same way the city manager couldn't make a decision. We didn't agree to it. And that's all I'm asking, and he suggested I bring it up to the council. I don't have a problem with that.
okay, I'll go on record that I'm opposed to that.
That's fine. I would like to have it. I'll go on record.
I'll go next. I don't have a problem with the card here at City Hall that gets signed out.
I'd like to since this isn't a vote and it's just a straw,
Yeah.
I can make a comment. I can remember, and I've been around here quite a long time, not just as a member of the council, but also with my family, and I know the history of Lincoln Park. And there have been problems with people on the council going into buildings and things missing, and it caused a lot of issues. No one ever, I'm not pointing my finger at any past council members. I don't think Larry would ever take a pen if asked. But we must remain and do, and show we're above that, and nothing can like that happen. So I'm going to have to say no.
I think that if a council person needs access to a building or anything to do what they need to do, they should be able to at least be given access at a request through the city manager.
So you're saying, as Councilman Higgins said, that have the card available at city
Yeah,
manager?
well, yeah, so that he can, I mean, if somebody has to get into a building for God knows what reason, they should be able to contact somebody to get into that building, whether it's a department head. If they're not available, there's got to be a second option to let that happen. And that second option should be through the city manager.
Okay, we're just doing a straw poll right now, is whether an individual card should be issued to a council member.
It's kept with them permanently?
Yes.
No,
What about to sign out?
to sign out, yes.
I'd like at this time to make a resolution that we have a card here at City Hall that any councilman could sign out
For?
for the DPS building. The other buildings are all available during the day. You can walk in, and even the police department, if you want to, you can walk in and then request to talk to somebody. DPS is different. Nobody answers the phone over there a lot of the time. Then if nobody answers the phone and you're sitting out in the gate and you're cold, and you have to wait till somebody else shows up. That is a completely different situation. And I can understand that somebody should be able to have a card and walk in. So I would make it a motion that the mayor or member of council should be able to get a card and be able to go, sign it out, and sign it back in.
And it's just a question that's specifically on the gate you're talking about.
Yes, I'm talking about the gate, nothing else. Because once you're in the gate, if it's during the day, the door's open. So you don't need a separate key for anything.
Okay, I mean,
Well, I'm sorry. There's parking outside the gate, though. Really, you don't need, do you need a gate key?
well, I mean, we're getting far afield. We're getting far.
You need a gate key because the front lounge is not open, ever. The door don't work. So the only way into the DPS is through that gate.
So it makes sense to repair the front door.
It does make sense to fix the front door. Absolutely.
Quick update on that. We do have a couple quotes. Unfortunately, they're above the threshold that we can do the 3 quotes. We're going to have to go to sealed bids for that project.
Well,
So you're going out for sealed bids.
Right, and we're not talking, tens of thousands of dollars. It's not, it's just above the threshold.
and in all reality, that would be better for the whole city, for citizens, everybody, if they could walk into the lobby and talk to somebody. But in the meantime, a card that could be signed out, I think, is a temporary solution.
Okay, is there support for the resolution?
I'll support it.
All right. So then, in discussion for this resolution.
Just to clarify through the chair, there is no gate guard person there. We cut that out, the management team did. So there is nobody there. You can't park out there and walk in because the front lobby's been closed since I came to this city 15, 20 years ago. And the gate is locked for the pedestrian area to get into that. So in essence, if you want to do your job, and the point I'm getting at is that if it makes it too hard to do my job, then I'm going to give up the liaison. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. Because I won't be complaining about it, and I won't be responsible for it, and I don't have a problem. And whoever else takes it can do it whatever way they want. But I find it really weird that it's taken this much discussion, and I've had a discussion with the city manager for about a month now, if not more, to get this issue. I mean, this is just, I'm almost ready to just say, forget it. I mean, I was a committee member and the president of my local. I had access to all the confidential buildings because I was elected a representative of the people. Here, it's like, you're a representative, but you got no rights. And I find that very hard to understand, and I'm sorry. And that's the way I feel about it. So whatever happens, happens, and then I'll decide what to do on my end. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, discussion on this from council. We have a citizen requesting to be heard on the resolution.
I'm sorry, I just have to ask, what's so important that a council person must get into the DPS whenever they feel the need?
All right, is there anything further from the audience?
Mr. Kelsey, could I respectfully ask that you lower your volume when you passionately share your beliefs? Because
Certainly.
it's coming across the mic very loud.
Okay, thank you very much. At least I know you can hear me.
Okay, is there anything further in relation to the resolution from the audience? Then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So we're back to questions for the city manager.
I don't have anything.
I'm not
Through the chair,
hearing anything, so then we'll move on to...
Tracy has something.
I'm sorry, I had one more question, if that's okay. It was regarding the 37% water loss that we have. Have we gotten any further along in finding out what's going on?
Through the fall, we were having some meetings, and we were investigating a couple different options. We were looking at the billing system, looking at the meters. We also, a couple months back, we brought forth a request to purchase the water leak detectors. And John, I don't know, have they come in yet?
The last piece will be here Thursday.
Beautiful.
We'll
So
have trading set the same day.
that'll be huge. That's going to help out significantly to catch.
So from the city, the DPS director says that the last piece will be coming in on Thursday, and then training will be commencing on that.
Right. So I don't know where we're at currently as far as the total, like the water loss of the last couple months, but I can look into it and get you guys a quick update.
Great,
We're going
thank
to be
you.
having a meeting this
Yep.
month, right?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, then at this point, we'll move on to our department.